Micronesia since 1938. Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
The death of a 5-year-old boy yesterday afternoon is under investigation. And the House approves the study to designate Guam as a National Heritage Area. Plus, the Senate squabbles right before CNMI impeachment hearing. These stories and more right here, right now on Primetime.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Devonzo, and thanks for tuning in to your news leader. It's a parent's worst nightmare, something terrible happening to their child, and it appears the worst has happened to a set of parents in Dededo. Here's more.
A tragedy. Around 4:45 p.m. on Tuesday, an injured child was rushed to the Stumbo fire station, which may have been nearby the family's home. Guam Police Department spokesperson Berlin Sevilla.
Our officers arrived and were able to gather information identifying that a child was transported to Guam Regional Medical City, where the child was later pronounced deceased.
KUAM caught wind of the incident late Tuesday evening. Today we reached out to the village mayor, who said she wasn't familiar with the family. GPD spokesperson Sevilla was able to release some information on the child.
Our victim, who our officers responded to, were able to obtain that it is a male child, approximately the age of 5.
The cause of death has not been released by GPD. However, detectives from the Criminal Investigations Section are awaiting the arrival of a medical examiner from Hawaii to conduct the autopsy on the child.
7-year-old Chirik Bojwani, who is the Director of Policy and Communications for Vice Speaker Tina Munya Barnes, as well as the Executive Director for the Democratic Party of Guam, was arrested for driving while impaired. He was also charged with open container of alcohol and had a blood alcohol content of 0.16%, which is twice the legal limit. This morning at 2 a.m., a GPD officer responded to a possible crash in Tumon, with Bojwani standing at the rear. The officer could smell alcohol and see bloodshot, watery eyes when speaking to him. Bojwani claimed he had only 2 beers and stated something similar to, "I want my lawyer here," when asked about alcohol consumption. Court documents state Bojwani insisted in changing his shoes, and when he attempted to lift his foot, he lost his balance. When officers retrieved his phone from the back seat, there was an open bottle of beer. In the nation's capital, a measure to secure a National Heritage Area study for Guam was passed by the House of Representatives. H.R. 2899 was introduced by Congressman Michael San Nicolas. The study would be conducted by the National Park Service and identify sites throughout the territory eligible for National Heritage Area designation. The congressman says his bill sets Guam on a course for our many historic places to finally be recognized by the federal government, ultimately enabling hundreds of thousands of dollars and the support of federal agencies to go towards areas of significance on our island.
This legislation is but one of many steps we must take to fully acknowledge the fabric of the territory of Guam and all territories in the tapestry that is American democracy. Our national heritage is not contiguous to a single landmass, nor is it homogeneous to any single people. It is in fact everything and everyone we are today, and the confluence of circumstances that have brought us to this day.
There are currently 54 National Heritage Areas throughout the United States. At this hour, the PD Municipal Planning Council is holding a hearing to discuss proposals for the use of the old USO property in the village that had been returned to the government of Guam. According to Village Mayor Jesse Allig, the proposals include a science exploration center, underwater museum, and another proposal from JG and Charles McJohn. The mayor says it's unclear how or if original landowners will be involved in the return process. Speaker Therese Terlahi chairs the Legislature Committee on Land.
I do not believe that the entire government of Guam should all of a sudden go for a land grab for these lands that are being returned. I think we should do what we have promised to do for decades now, and that is first look at the ancestral landowners. Can we return it to them?
According to the mayor, he knows of 2 families that are original landowners. Guam law states that excess land given back to GovGuam must be returned to original landowners, or they must be compensated if GovGuam keeps the land for continued public benefit. And the military warns of nefarious activities from China as Russia continues its brutal invasion of Ukraine. There is heightened readiness in the Pacific. Tomas Manglutnia reports on how critical Guam and the Northern Marianas are to a potential battle.
As the world watches Russia's brutal assault on Ukraine, military officials are keeping an eye on China and its reach in Taiwan. U.S. forces are in heightened readiness.
There'll be consequences for the nation of Russia, and I believe that a similar event would occur in the Pacific if China were to have a similar unprovoked attack. And so I'm hopeful that they're paying attention to that.
Military officials speaking at the Air Force Association's Warfare Symposium this week, marking the pacing threats of our times.
I think that's going to be one of the cornerstones of deterrence, is if we can pose a formidable force that can deny them the benefits that they might see by an attack and impose costs if we need to, that there's going to be consequences to aggressive behavior in space and in the other domains, and we need to have the capabilities to demonstrate that.
Pacific Air Forces are in lockstep with the ACE doctrine and agile combat employment response to threats from China, North Korea, and Russia. It was in full display in Cope North.
We had forces at all 3 major airfields on Guam. We had forces at Rota, Saipan, and Tinian, and we were executing all aspects of ACE, which, you know, certainly means flying missions from those islands and those airfields, but multi-capable airmen.
The tip of the spear continues to sharpen as tensions boil. Tomas Manglutnia for KUAM News.
North Korea fired an identified projectile today. Homeland Security Advisor Samantha Brennan says there was no immediate threat for Guam or the NMI. South Korea military reports that the projectile failed immediately after launching. This marks the 11th launch reported in 2022. The recent lifting by the Korean government of quarantine requirements for returning citizens is expected to provide a big boost to Guam visitors' arrival from the country. GVB is gearing up for the resurgence of one of our top markets. Nestor Lecanto has the details.
With a government announcement last week that Koreans returning from overseas trips will not face mandatory 7-day quarantine, more tourists are expected to travel to popular vacation spots like Guam. The new policy goes into effect April 1st, but GVB country manager Jay Park says there won't be an immediate surge in arrivals because of the limited supply of airline seats, although no less than 6 Korean carriers are now scrambling for government approval of their service.
All the airlines are considering Guam is the top priority destination, and they are planning to increase and expand our direct flight from Korea to Guam. So we are in now the much better situation now compared to previous couple of years.
In fact, he points to the recent approval of Busan Air for direct flights from Busan beginning in mid-April. In the meantime, GVB officials are also working their contacts. GVB Korea Marketing Manager Colleen Cabeto.
We're going to be going out there first week of April to meet with our airline partners and our travel trade partners to ensure that we try to get additional seats, and also try to meet with the ministry to vie for additional seat capacity, so it makes it more convenient for the visitors to book their flight to Guam.
And Park says Guam has a lot going for it when it comes to what is now the top priority for travelers, a destination's health and hygiene status.
I feel like we can take some more market share from that Southeast Asian countries traveling market. So yeah, again, safety is one of the top priority consideration for the travelers. So we have the big potential.
Returning Korean residents will still be required to have negative COVID test results, but GVB says as an added incentive, GovGuam will be offering outbound passengers free PCR tests. For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Over in the NMI, the impeachment trial of Governor Ralph Torres is struggling to get off the ground. The Senate president is dropping the hammer after one senator declined to sit on a committee and another recused himself from the process entirely. Tomas Manglutnia has the details.
The Senate impeachment pre-hearing conference was supposed to set the ground rules and timetable for the impeachment trial of Governor Ralph Torres. But it was delayed to next Monday, and the inner workings of the Senate have now turned out in public view. Senator Justo Quirigua recuses himself from the entire process and final vote due to family ties with the governor. In his letter to the Senate president, he wrote in part, "I avoid circumstances which compromise my ability to make impartial judgments on any basis other than the public good." He added, "I must abstain or recuse myself in order to maintain public confidence." But even sitting senators have argued that the process leading up to the adoption of rules lacks that confidence. Senator Teresita Santos, in 2 lines, wrote to the Senate president declining his appointment of her to the Committee on Impeachment Rules. Santos, who is an independent, would have been the only minority member on the panel. But Senate President Jude Hofschneider is dropping the hammer, rejecting her rejection. In response to Santos's terse letter, he wrote, "Your appointment to the special committee is not voluntary, nor an option, but an order." He added, "Declining to accept your appointment without good reason is tantamount to neglect of duty, which may be sanctioned." Tensions rise inside the legislature as the fate of the executive seat hangs in the balance. Tomas Manglutnia for KUAM News.
Still to come on your news leader, we head to the vaccination clinic where people are lining up to combat COVID. These stories and so much more coming up next.
Know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Half a day. Gas prices continue to rise and we are here to help. We have revised Programa Salapi to provide a $300 direct cash assistance payment to most households. We've expanded income eligibility so more families will benefit.
We've heard your struggles and we hope this relief will help during these difficult times. The Department of Administration will begin accepting applications on Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. For more information, visit doa.guam.gov.
This ad is paid for by the Office of the Governor using government funds.
When the pandemic first started and we had no idea that it was going to affect our business till March of 2020. Orders from public health, roadblocks, restriction. It was a very hard time for me. What really has saved my business is the SBA and the PPP program. I felt keeping the employees was so important because I had faith that my government would help me later, the federal government. We applied and we received 2 PPP loans equaling up to $425,000. That money saved me because it's been 2 years. I think 80 or 90% of the restaurants have closed. The only reason I'm here because of my devoted clientele and the federal government.
Thank you for helping save jobs with federal funds.
Thank you to the federal government for all the federal ARP money.
Thank you for the federal funds.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
When public school students return to school next year, it will be full-on in-person learning. The Guam Education Board last night approved plans to use the online mode of learning as a backup. GEB Chairperson Mark Mendiola.
Should the case arise, the Department of Education will be able to revert back to online learning should there be another issue regarding the pandemic. However, 2022, 2023, the board, just so that we are able to plan accordingly for the beginning of the next school year, we kind of set the tone that yes, we are going to go back to face-to-face. But at the same time, too, we're not going to completely take off the online learning opportunity.
Meanwhile, the GEB last night approved GDOE's 5-year strategic plan, which focuses on, among other things, test scores and ensuring GDOE meets its financial obligations. The airport board formally accepted a clean audit of its fiscal year 2021 operations. One of the main takeaways, which came as no surprise, was that airport revenues dropped 66% due to the pandemic-led collapse in global tourism. Airport Deputy Executive Manager Ricky Hernandez said they were still able to make ends meet through the leadership of the authority's division heads.
Their frugality led to the ability for us to bridge some of the gap in the reduction in revenues. And also for thanking them for answering the call that management as well as the board had asked them to ensure that although we reduce spending quite significantly, that we're still able to ensure that we're fully functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all of our passengers, whether it's one passenger or 1.8 million passengers.
The audit was performed by Ernst Young. And the Guam Contractors Association recognized and awarded 5 local contractors for making it in the Associated Builders and Contractors 2022 Top Performers list. Daniel Perez has more.
Out of 69 chapters from the Associated Builders and Contractors, comprising 21,000 contractors across the U.S., 5 of the island's local contractors made it to the top-performing U.S. construction companies. Black Construction Corporation, Cortec International, Pacific Federal Management, Ian Construction Corporation, and Agbayani Construction Corporation are the 5 companies that were recognized. Guam Contractors Association President James Martinez.
To get the top 200 out of all those, and 5 of them coming from Guam, is amazing. We have subcategories underneath that. We've got your top contractor by market for the military market, and good thing about that is Guam swept top 3 rankings on the top military contractors, and also the number 10 slot in the top category.
Black Construction Corporation ranked first in the military contractors category out of 200 other companies. Cortec International Corporation ranked second, Pacific Federal Management ranked third, and Ian Construction Corporation ranked 10th in the same category. Martinez shared what other categories Guam's contractors won in.
The top 125 general contractors, and then there's top trade contractors, top airport contractors, top infrastructure contractors. And so all 5 of these contractors had received some recognition. And again, this is ranked against the 21,000 contractors throughout the U.S.
To be eligible, Guam Contractors Association's top performers demonstrated world-class safety performance by achieving gold status or higher in ABC's Safety Training Evaluation Process Safety Management System, making the top-performing contractors more than 6 times safer than the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics industry average, according to ABC's Safety Performance Report. Daniel Perez reporting for KUAM News.
Recycling just got a little easier as recycling bins are now available at your village mayor's office. Aluminum cans, glass, and metal cans are being accepted in your village. Peggy Denny of iRecycle Guam says aluminum cans will be picked up from village drop sites and brought to respective village schools so that cans can be sold and funds raised can go to village schools as part of the iRecycle program. Denny sorts through collected recyclables, and she's calling on islanders to get to know the difference between the different types of recyclable metals.
It's really important that people understand if you're holding a metal can and you can't crush it with your hand, then you know that it's not aluminum. okay? But so it's a type of what they call bimetal, but it can be recycled as scrap metal. And so that's really important because there's no need and no reason for those items to go into the landfill.
Denny says there are avenues available to recycle glass and aluminum and metal cans, but the market for plastic has bottomed out. She encourages said plastics that are collected in curbside recycling bins actually end up in the landfill, which is why she encourages residents to find alternatives to plastic use. And there's been a change in date for this year's Island Sustainability Conference. Here's Tyler Matanani with the latest update.
The 13th Annual University of Guam Conference on Island Sustainability will be offered both online and in person from April 5th to the 9th at the Hyatt Regency Guam. This year's theme is Harness Wind in Our Sails to Sustainable 2030. UOG Director for Island Sustainability, Dr. Austin Shelton.
This is building upon the momentum that we have been having here in the Guam Green Growth Initiative and through all of our island networks. We want to keep this going and get to our destination of Sustainable 2030, which is where our action framework is guiding us toward.
The 5-day conference kicks off with a Sustainable Housing Summit coordinated by GURA and the UOG School of Business and Public Administration.
We'll be talking about affordable housing, new innovative housing strategies, and also how to solve some of the homeless issues that we're seeing on the island.
Other key topics of discussion include renewable energy, food security, and the circular economy, with a youth summit at the final day.
The youth are creating their own action framework that will be sort of as a great supplement to the G3 action framework that we have now, that's aligned with all the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, how our island is implementing those in locally and culturally effective ways. So we'll now have a very strong youth voice and component to drive that forward.
The conference will feature experts on climate change and food security and past keynote speakers, including the owner of Tetris and the Blue Planet Alliance Foundation, Hank Rogers. Visit uog.edu/CIS 2020 for more information. For KUAM News, I'm Tyler Matanani.
Stay tuned. Up next, Dave Delgado with your roundup of local sports.
We all start somewhere. We start with the day. We start with him. We start with family. We start with a lesson. And the perfect wave. We start here and here. We start at your office and your home. We start with the connections that matter the most, the ones that move us, change us, inspire us. In an ever-expanding world, personal connections are what tie everything together, what ties us together. We all start somewhere. At GTA, we start with you.
Hey, Mars, good evening, man.
Good morning.
We like to say we're in the business of opening doors. Since first opening our doors in 1972, our love for our community has driven our legacy of service. We've seen paths to bigger and brighter futures.
So, what are we saving for?
School. We've seen the heart of our people.
You ready for this? Yeah.
We've seen our communities come together to help one another. We've seen passion become successful business plans. We've seen generations of families grow with us.
Wow, that was easy. Wow.
And when we think of all the doors we help to open, we can't help but be reminded of the reason we're still here today. Our people.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific, better together.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. On the show tonight, ESA Boys Soccer Championship highlights between the Islanders and Sharks. But first off, ESA Girls Softball Championship highlights between the Cougars and Panthers. Check it out. Guam High pitcher Brenlyn Hart with the strikeout for the Panthers. Ground out by Academy to first base. Gets the Panthers out of the inning. Nice play by first baseman Alondra Acosta. Cougars second baseman Branwyn Seville makes the grab on the pop-up. Academy scored their first run of the game in the bottom of the second inning. A bad throw to third allows a base runner to get home. That would be the only run the Cougars would score as the Panthers defense would hold them down. Guam High pitcher Brenlyn Hart would do the rest of the work on the mound for the Panthers as they went on to win 6-1. Make sure to catch this year's girls high school softball all-star game this Sunday at the Ukadu Field at 4 in the afternoon. Shout out to the Guam Amateur Baseball Association for officiating the game. ESA Soccer Championship between the Islanders and Sharks. Sanchez beat JFK in their last meeting 3-2. JFK led 2-0 at the half behind goals from Tayo Kanakatsu and Riku Meyer. In the second and 10th minute of play, Islanders poured it on in the second half. Josh Beneventi made it 3-0 in the 47th minute with his only score of the match. Teammate Brian Nakamine added 2 scores in the 52nd and 64th minute of the contest. Meyer and Kanakatsu kicked through the last 2 goals for the Islanders as they went on to win 7-0. Kanakatsu gets by the defender and sends the pass across the field to Beneventi here, who gets the shot to go past the Sharks keeper.
I think the team did good. I'm glad we got the championship and the trophy, but most importantly, the teamwork, the bond, and everything like the team has done for us is crazy.
I want to thank my teammates for their teamwork and their hard work throughout the season, constantly showing up to practice, and it was a team effort.
I was expecting to be 7-0. Last time we lost 3-2. You know, honestly, like without my teammates, I would never have been here. And I got 2 goals, 3 assists. I'm kind of proud of my stats, and I'm really proud of my coaches. And again, without my teammates and my coach.
That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific, better together.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific, better together.
It's beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Good job, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
I'm stuck in this, like, infinite time loop thing.
I'm reliving the same day over and over again. I get to do whatever I want.
Plus, nacho fries never leave the menu.
She's violating the nacho fries limited timeline.
Does that happen every day?
Let's dip.
Try her now!
What's happening?
Let's get spicy!
Look out!
Welcome back. We wrap up the show with your birthday shout-outs. Here's Jason Solis.
Hey, Rascal Roland Villacorta. Happy birthday to you, and it's Rascal's 5th birthday. Happy birthday, Ron. Love Mommy, Daddy, Sienna, Jack Mays, and Uncle Ken, Auntie Kalani, Jake, Isaac, Sarah, Silver, Chewy, Serena, and the new pups, Grandma Kathy and Papa Tony. We love you, our boy, and wishing you a fantastic week. Happy birthday, Ron. Man, that's a lot of love from a lot of people. We know you're an awesome person. Happy 5th birthday. Tony May Uggan has a birthday today, and I am so thankful that God has given you to us. You light up our lives, and we love you very much. Tony May's birthday is number 20 today, and happy birthday, sweetheart. That's your shout out. And you know what? We celebrate Roan and Tony because they are awesome people. They're awesome Guamanians. They're part of our island family, and we celebrate them today. Happy birthday to you and everybody out there.
You can be a part of our Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by checking out KUAM.com. And that's our show. Thanks for watching. I'm Hannah Devon.